how do you manifest changes in your life? That's exactly what we're talking about today on the Manifesting Guide podcast. But before we do that, if you're tired of pushing and forcing yourself to get things done, get your future possibilities wish list. It's completely free. Go to highertrueself.com/freebies. Now on to episode 63, Making Changes with Manifesting. All right, I'm so happy you're here. This is Ariana Rollins. Let's talk about changing, because we all want the benefit of what change will bring us. We want the slimmer body. We want the new relationship. We want the clean and tidy house. We want the new house. We want the new car. Those are all what we would call changes. Desires that we want to happen, either material things to bring into our life or changes with our physical body. Change is not easy for most people. In fact, it's really hard for some people, especially those on the autistic spectrum, that they need the ritual and the routine to make themselves feel calm and safe. I'm watching a fabulous Netflix series. Yes, I do love series because it's like I get attached to the actors and the actresses and the storyline, and then it's over in an hour and a half or 2 hours. So series, I really like it. So it's called Atypical. If it's something of interest, I highly recommend it. It's really well done. So this young man is on the spectrum, highly functioning, Asperger's, and it's his journey of how he sees the world and how he calms himself when things happen that are not anticipated and out of his routine. So going back to this idea of change. So someone on the autistic spectrum, change is traumatizing. It's traumatic. And that to live in this, what I would call very off-track world where we are aggressive, we are self-serving, we are short-term intention focused. As a general rule, I mean, look at where we are now as a humanity on the, whole humanity on the planet. A lot of stuff's going on. So the world, for those people coming in who are sensitive, all babies are sensitive, we know that. But some people lose their sensitivity and they get tough, right? Yeah, I'm sure you've witnessed that. I believe as humans, we are meant to maintain our sensitivity, not just as a baby and a child, but as a spiritually evolving human, we are meant to be sensitive. So, it's my personal theory that autism is more natural than the hard shell that we have to develop to be able to drive a car at high speeds, to be able to push through and get projects done even when we're tired. Those are not natural things. We're living in a world which is really hard on people who are sensitive. So back to this notion of manifesting changes. We absolutely can do that. We can use manifesting techniques to make changes in our physical body, our health or our well-being, our emotions, how we react to the world, and also changes to bank account, to physical things that we want to bring into our life, experiences we want to have. Manifesting is not just about attracting stuff to ourselves, which stuff's great. I really enjoy the material plane. But I see manifesting is a way to make the change we want to happen in a smoother, more harmonious way, because change is not easy. Even think about someone wants to get married and it's their passion to get married and have children. Well, there's the change of maybe living on their own. They've got their routines, they've got their work life balanced, and they've got their friends, they've got their activities they enjoy, their hobbies. Well, they love the idea of being married and having a baby. Would you say that's going to require a bit of adaptation? Are there going to be a few changes they're going to have to make? Absolutely. So even good change can be stressful, let alone loss, or what we would call a negative change in our life, like a health diagnosis or a loss of job or income. And that's all change. And when we think about preparing for what we want to manifest, that's preparing our mind, our emotions, our body for the inevitable change. Whether it's good change, well, I don't know if you can prepare for bad change. Maybe you can. That would probably be a good podcast. Actually, I think you can. I'm just thinking about a few changes I've went through this year. A loss of a beloved pet. Oh my gosh. It was the toughest thing I ever went through. That was end of January. And I do remember prepping for it because I had an inkling that my time with her would be short. But we'll talk about that in another podcast. So managing change and the change that is inevitable if we get what we want. Here's a secret that a lot of people don't realize with manifesting. The reason why we don't have what we want and why what we've written down on our future possibilities wish list has not happened is that we're nervous about it. We don't know what it's going to mean to our life. The change could be too big. Let's go back to the example of the woman who wants to get married and have babies. Well, the change, a part of her registers that she's going to have to maybe not get used to not having as much free time. Her sleep's going to be disturbed. Her husband is going to lean on her in ways that maybe she's not used to giving. So at an unconscious level, we register all of that. And so the unconscious goes into protective mode. It's not a rational thing. Think about the unconscious mind as an untrained 2-year-old. It's like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. No. So it kind of puts the brakes on. And while we're progressing on setting the dating profile up and we're going on dates and we're enjoying our time out and imagining what it would be like to be married to that person, photoshopping them in our life, yet the unconscious is nervous. And you're not likely going to be aware of that at a conscious level. You just might find yourself saying, I need a little more time off this week from dating. 3 dates a week, that's too much. Yeah, I have been hanging out with my friends. And oh my gosh, my workouts have slipped. And I'm not meditating as much. I'm going to cut back. I'm going to do 1 date a week. So you'll start to notice the subtle shifts. You'll start to notice you're pulling back from the intensity. Maybe that's not the word, but your intention, the intensity of you fulfilling your intention. Because manifesting is not magical things falling out of the sky, unless maybe you're a little Buddha. Manifesting is intentionality. It's turning your intentions into reality, which means taking action. So if we start to notice ourselves pulling back from the consistent activity and the action, like if you want to feel fit and strong and healthy in your body and you've been working out 3 times a week and you're walking and you're drinking lots of water, you're eating salad several times a week for dinner, and you're feeling good. Well, you know that if you stop some of those things, the scale might start to go the other way and you could creep up a couple pounds. Now, a lot of people, I think, may be naive, maybe kind of hopeful, think of manifesting as you think it, you cause it, and immediately happens. Yes, that sometimes happens. But again, those are like little Buddha heads walking around that can do that. Most of us are not like that. Most of us need to take that intentional action. We need to look at our thinking and our behaviors, our habits, and we need to make some changes. Let's go back to the beginning. Changes. Does that mean I got to get up a little earlier because I want to go to the gym and work out? 3 days a week again? Yeah, it might. So what do you do if you've got some habits that are resistant to change? That's why I love the work that I do and the way that I teach manifesting, because it's comprehensive. It's like going to one of those fabulous resorts in Mexico or Costa Rica, all inclusive. You get to not only identify your wishes, your intentions, your desires, and rate them, how desirable they are, but you also get to recognize when fear of change is putting the brakes on, and you resolve it. We would call those resistance, blockers, contradiction, whatever you want to call them. But you get those habits on your side. So instead of sabotaging and undermining your progress and where you want to go, going back to the woman who wants to get married and have babies, she can recognize, oh my gosh, if I go back to dating one date a week, is that going to get me where I want to go? It might. We don't know, right? But it might not. At least she can make a conscious choice. And that's the power of this work, is making something conscious instead of unconscious, robotic, habitual way of living. We all do it. And not all habits are bad. Learning how to drive a car was a great habit, right? But some habits are coming from that, we could even call it a reptilian mind of just reactive and fearful and holding back. Those are not the habits that are going to get us where we want. So, managing change. I'm going to give a few tips here and then we'll start to wrap up. If you have an intention, you want to bring something into physical reality, you have written it out, you feel it in your body, you've created that future memory of you seeing yourself in that successful moment, and you have successfully anchored it in your unconscious mind. That's the work we do in our program. So if you want to learn more about that, send me a message and we'll talk about it. So you've successfully communicated to your body, the storehouse of your unconscious mind, what you want, and you feel it. You feel it's happening. You're excited. You've got that future gratitude. You're in joy. Oh yeah, it's happening. And then maybe a week, two later, you're having a conversation with a good friend and you say, I've been really progressing and I've been going on great dates. I'm really enjoying the connections. I've got my online profile feels good, and yet I'm nervous and I don't know where that nervousness is coming from. And so your friend says, do you really want to get married? You got a great life. And all of a sudden it's like, whoa, that's it. I got a great life. I don't want to lose my great life. So write it down. And I would say even put a title. If you do it, use a journal, put the title on the page, Fear of Change. Start to notice those things that are starting to put the brakes on. Oh, maybe I don't want to give up my every weekend. I do like my weekends with my friends. Write it down. It doesn't mean that if you do want to get married and have babies that you have to give up every weekend, right? But let's go back to the way that I see that the unconscious mind works. It's like a strong-willed child, a 2-year-old, and it thinks of all or nothing, black or white. So being married, having children, I have no time to myself. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. Maybe you create a life where you have support, where you've got relatives who love to be with your child, and your husband and you can take a weekend off, or you can take a weekend off with your girlfriends, right? That black and white, all or nothing, is a definite habitual way of thinking. It's a program that lives in the unconscious mind. So ferret them out. Write down, what's it going to mean? Where's this fear of change? I'll have never time for myself. I won't be able to work out. All those things that, as you make them conscious, they have less power over you. In the book, The Manifesting Guide, which I'm recording the Audible right now, I'm on a really special retreat place where it's quiet. You might hear birds out here because I could not resist it. I'm out on the balcony and it's gorgeous. There is just trees for miles and miles around. It's an amazing place. So as I'm recording the book, there is a chapter in there that talks about preparing for what we want. It's chapter 8, and it's about what is fear of success. And there's an exercise in there that's fantastic. It came to me just recently. And that's the thing with writing a book. A book never seems to be done. It's like raising a child, right? Or training a puppy. There's always things to do on it. So I am cutting it off. I'm not adding more chapters. I'm not adding more exercises. But what I tuned into as I was reviewing that chapter, What is Fear of Success, is that there is a way to prepare ourselves for the fear of success, which could be fear of change, fear of success, fear of getting married, fear of having babies. It's fear of change, isn't it, really? Is that we can imagine the worst case scenario, what would happen? And that can ferret out those fears. I'd have no time to myself. I'm going to get chubby wubby fat because I'm not going to go work out. Or my friendships are going to just fall away because I'm going to be so consumed with taking care of the baby and spending time with my husband. Just write them all down, okay? And then I'm not going to be able to go through the whole chapter in this podcast, but if you can identify what the biggest fear is, and then do a worst case scenario on it. I mean, really feel it. Really just turn that fear up. And then ask yourself, can you accept it? Can you settle? Now, for some people, giving some things up to be married and have a baby, yeah, they're willing to do it. And when you get to that point of calmness and peacefulness in your body, you know you've accepted the worst case scenario. And my beloved friends, we know it's never going to be that. The worst case scenario is the fear of change. And if we can even settle to that, well, guess what? We're going to be good as gold. It's going to happen because we have accepted it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I really enjoyed this. And if you like the episode, please forward it, share it with someone, and maybe leave a review wherever you listen to your podcast. I'm so grateful for this time. And remember, when you love and accept yourself, you have an unshakable confidence, and the world can't rock you. So much love. Bye for now.